Hi there VC, it's Steve Whitty here with another video, a regular Sunday morning video. Wouldn't say much love, but much requested. Yes, this is a quick video. I was a bit scrambling for ideas on what video to make today, and so I thought I'll show some of the purchases I've already made in February. So this is sort of like February's purchases, part one, so to speak. Hope everybody's been good. I've had a good week. I think the weather in the UK is starting to hold out. I'm lucky where I live, not being affected by the floods or whatever. So, if I get flooded, then I'm expecting to see a bloke with in a boat with a load of animals come past me. So, yes, just quickly say a quick one. Some of my purchases. So let's start off. First album, it's Aerosmith Live bootleg. This came out in 1978. Excuse me. This is the supposed to have the poster with it. The poster's not there. I suspect it was put up on the wall, the previous owner's wall. Yes, and I haven't got much Aerosmith in my collection, vinyl or CD, to be honest. Certainly haven't got much of the so-called classic 70s stuff, which this live album sort of like documents. As I said, came out in 78. So you've got all your classic tracks on here: Back in the Saddle, Sweet Emotion, Toys in the Attic, the version of Come Together, which was on the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club movie, Walk This Way, Dream On, Mama Kin, and their version of Try and Keep Her Rolling, amongst others. Yes, I was fortunate to see Aerosmith live in 1993 when they their Get a Grip tour. They didn't really in the 70s come to the UK, and I suspect come to Europe that much, and I suspect that was due because they were a bit too worried about getting busted with their drug habits at the time. And I enjoyed that. I thought they were great back live. He didn't, they'd let their music talk. They didn't do much. Steve Tyler didn't do much. Chat in between songs, to be quite honest, which probably shows how good the music was. I mean, obviously, recently we've all heard about the bit of a dispute with Joey Kramer, not being able to drum at the Grammys. However, he's now drumming back with the band again. It just seemed all a little bit unnecessary, and the fact it got aired in public, sort of like, I mean, no, it just damages the band, ultimately. Something totally different vein. You have to excuse the cover being ripped there. This is Crass, Stations of the Crass. This is, I think, pretty much like the debut released in 79. It's a double album, but this one, sides 1 to 3 are 45 RPM. Side 4 is a live album. Live recording, and that's on 33 RPM. Crass were anarcho-punk commune. They lived in a commune, very militant, very. I mean, on the live track, they're dissing like bands like the Clash, for going off and doing other things. It's very basic. It's very basic, the sound. I mean, the guitars sound like they've been recorded in a biscuit tin sort of thing, or cookie jar. But they were popular at the time. I suspect they didn't make any money because I imagine they gave most what they earned away. This is very much do-it-yourself. This was done on their own label. You could only really get it in independent stores. They did a track, it's not on the album, called Reality Asylum. It's basically just attacking religious and the pressing. And I think I told this story before. I showed a previous Crass record. The record was pressed in Ireland, and the Irish wouldn't deal with it. It was mocking religion, so they repressed it, and where the track should be, they kept it as silence and did it as freedom of speech. So they very much wore their hearts on the sleeves politically. yeah, it's very you've got to really be into your punk, I think, to really appreciate this. I mean, I'm aware, I was obviously aware of them. I thought got the quid too good to pass up, so take it there. And again, moving on to something totally different. Found this in the charity shop. And to be honest, I found it a clean copy. Most of the copies I've seen, I've been totally beat. Michael Jackson, Bad from 1987. It was the long anticipated follow up to Thriller. I think this might be a reissue because you can see from the sticker there includes 9 hit singles. Now, considering there are only 10 tracks on the album, you can't help feeling a little bit of a rip off. But on the back of this, he toured some good tracks on here. Obviously, the title track. I like Liberian Girl, The Way You Make Me Feel, Man in the Mirror, Smooth Criminal. I think this was the last album that Quincy Jones co-produced with Michael Jackson. I said when I showed Dangerous, you know, for all what's went on with him, and obviously you see the how he changed, the skin tone had changed from, let's say, Thriller. He still wrote a damn good tune. He knew how to write good songs, or even get help, collaboration with people that could write good tunes. And he always got good players playing with him, and that's what makes his albums so good. You know, take away all that crap that surrounded him. He still wrote some decent tunes. Again, changed the tap totally. This is Mountain. This is Flowers of Evil. This came out in 1971. This is one of these albums where you've got a studio side, side 1, and a live side at side 2. I think where the live side was recorded. This is on the Island label. Seen that before. Side 2 is probably the interesting one because it's sort of like it's called Dream Sequence. It's 24 minutes long. So you've got a guitar solo version of Roll Over Beethoven, Dreams of Milk and Honey, Variations, Swan Theme, and then to end the album, that side, the live version of Mississippi Queen. I don't know, it's the same. Mountains are what they are for that period. Typical 70s rock. Obviously, Leslie West and Felix Pappalardi are well known, but you've obviously got Steve Knight and Corky Lang as well. It's not a bad album, for what it is. It's too early in the morning. All right, next album. Picked this up for a couple of quid. This is the Pretenders Pact. I believe this is their 5th album. And to be quite honest, in all intents and purposes, released in 1990, this was a Chrissie Hynde solo album. I think there may have been contractual obligation for it to be a Pretenders album. At this point, it's pretty much Chrissie Hynde was the Pretenders. There was no other band. I think Blair Cunningham, who played on Get Happy, drummed on some of the tracks on here. And the other link was Billy Brem, who played the guitar, and Back on the Chain Gang played a lot of guitar on this album. It's not a bad album. It's not one of their best. I suspect it's probably lacking direction. I do remember when it came out, it sort of came out and disappeared. I think it got panned a little bit. It's not bad, but you could compare it to the 10 years earlier, the self-titled debut album. It's chalk and cheese, and I think Chrissie Hynde works better with Pretenders when she's got a proper band behind her. Hence why some of the other albums have been good. All the other albums tend to be better. This is may well be the weakest Pretenders album. Now, I was really pleased to find a copy of this. This is Toots and the Maytals, Funky Kingston. Originally issued in 1972 in the UK, this is a 1976 Ireland reissue. And how I got it, I work in a town called Solihull, and I have to go back to, I worked late one day, later than normal, so I thought I'd walk past the Oxfam, which is charity shop, book and record store they've got there, and in the window they've got this. I thought, oh, let's have a look. Oh, they're shut early. So I thought, oh, I'll go in lunchtime tomorrow. I looked at the price and I thought, oh, that's well in my price range. I think I'll have a look at that, have a look at the record to see what it's like. So I go in, and the next day, lunchtime, it's still there. Can I have a look at the record? I look at the price. Now the price was handwritten. I looked at it and I thought, this is $7.99. But what was supposed to be the pound sign looked like a 1. And I got the feeling, oh no, they're not asking $17.99. So I asked the guy behind the counter, how much is this, $7.99 or $17.99? And he got his phone out, and I thought, oh no. You know, I thought I could see where this is going. But he came back to me and says, no, it's $7.99. I thought, right, I'll have it. It is worth actually a little bit more than that on Discogs, so I think I got away with that one. And this is just a classic reggae album. Got on here, Sit Right Down, Pomp and Ride, Louie Louie, I Can't Believe, Redemption Song, Daddy, Funky Kingston, and it was written down. This is just absolutely wonderful. Wonderful cover as well. So colourful. Yeah, so really pleased to have got that at a really decent price. Album I've been looking at, and I've seen it, and I looked at it, and I pass it by, and then when I go and look by it, he's Robin Trower's Bridge of Sighs, and then goes. So when it came into the shop, and it was about £5-6, it's not a difficult album to find. It's just it's that common. I end up passing it by for something else that's a bit more rare, and I spun this yesterday actually. And I was really pleased to have got this. It really is a good album. Obviously, you've got Bridge of Sighs title track and Two Rolling Stoned. This was his most popular album, especially in the States. I think it got top 10. Robin Trower was in Procol Harum. He was in the Paramounts, and then which morphed into Procol Harum. He decided he wanted to move on. He was very much, his guitar playing was very much influenced by Hendrix, and that's the direction he went. But the album was produced by Matthew Fisher, who was in Procol Harum with Trower, and it's sort of and Jeff Emmerich engineered it as well. This is absolutely wonderful, really good album. Good again of its time, but really it's a good album. Some good stuff on there. The playing's great. James Dewar on the bass and vocal. Yeah, absolutely great corking. Pleased to finally got that in my collection. Next up, Uriah Heep, The Magician's Birthday. This is released in 1972. My copy is a 1979 reissue. The originals go for silly money. This probably features the classic lineup of Uriah Heep. I think I've shown it before. There you go. David Byron, Mick Box, Lee Kerslake, Ken Hensley, and Gary Fane. And some wonderful. Again, I played this yesterday, and I enjoyed listening to this. Some really good songs on here, and the artwork is just wonderful. Yeah, it's another Roger Dean piece of artwork there, which is de rigueur of that time. Wonderful album. I mean, that lineup, classic lineup, made 5 albums. I think it's just one of those I need to get. Don't go out of my way to find Uriah Heep. If I see it and it's at a decent price, I'll get it. Again, changing tact. Now, it's about 78, 79, I really got into music and I started buying. And obviously this is talking about punk new wave. And 79, obviously Sex Pistols there, and I've played a lot on the radio. Around 79, obviously, Sid Vicious passed away. And this is quite a tasteless piece of artwork, a cover. I found this. It's a 12-inch single of the singles that were released from the great rock and roll swindle. Come On Everybody, My Way, Something Else. This is a French pressing. This is on the Barclay Maxi Brest Barclay label. This was only released in France, but I can't imagine it 40 years ago things like this would have been banned in the UK. I still remember seeing this in a music paper. I think it might have been the Enemy as an advert for something else, which I'm about to show you. Because Virgin Records, in infinite wisdom, knew they were on a cash cow with Sid Vicious, and they flogged it to death, basically. And they released this in '79. I got this for a couple of quid, and with no way I would have paid any more than this. This is Sid Sings, and again, it's an album that should have a free poster inside, which it doesn't. It probably ended up on the wall, and I'm not too upset about that. And it's basically a live album. From what I remember, I have listened to it previously on streaming. I think this is a live album. When Pistols imploded, McLaren took Vicious to the US with the aim. He thought this guy was the star. He had the image. Well, in reality, he had nothing, really. He couldn't play the bass. He couldn't sing. He came across as a bit of an idiot. I mean, there's the tale when Queen were recording We Are the Champion, recording News of the World, and Pistols were in the next studio. And Sid Vicious thought he'd try it on with Freddie Mercury. Oh, Freddie, you're bringing Ballad to the masses. And apparently Freddie Mercury just picked him up by the lapels and says, "My dear Mr. Ferocious, of course we are." And something like that. Yes, not that his mum was an addict. It's one of those tales where I think someone who's not very vulnerable wanted to be part of something and sort of like got dragged into it, and as long as he got his drugs, and then he met Nancy Spungen, who seemed to drift him apart. I mean, Vicious joining the Pistols probably was the reason the Pistols started to implode a little bit, because they were had a passenger. He was John Lydon's mate, but musically he offered nothing. Now, I wouldn't say very little. He offered nothing. But obviously what happened was all very sad. I remember watching a documentary, and after Nancy Spungen, he'd been charged, and he couldn't get out of America. He looked a bit of a state, to be honest, and he just wanted to. All he said he wanted to do was have fun, and he was asked, "Are you having fun?" And he just looked. I thought he was going to deck the interviewer when he asked that question, to be honest, and he just said no. It just really sad. And I said, the Pistols it was a cash cow. Virgin Records flogged to death. And in 1980, again, this only cost me a couple of quid. I wouldn't normally have touched it. Flogging a Dead Horse, which was brought out, and it just listed on side one listed the singles and the B-sides up to Holidays in the Sun, apart from the B-side to Holiday in the Sun, and then side two is pretty much the great rock and roll swindle stuff. And I think that picture there, that summed it up in the end. They really did. Virgin Records did really rinse every last bit of detail out the Sex Pistols at the time, which is all very sad. I mean, you know, for one band, one proper album to leave such a mark, it just shows how good a band they could have been. To me, it's one of the great what ifs. Ultimately, if Metlock hadn't been forced out, what the band could have turned into. But then again, I've watched Jones's Jukebox, and here's Steve Jones talk about the 70s and 80s, and even in a bad way with drugs, he could have easily gone the same way. So it could have been a double negative. Last album, this is Sue. This is a compilation brought out on the Island label, on the Sue label. Lovely pink Island label. Again, it only cost me a couple of quid. It's not a bit marked, the cover's a bit worn, but it's got some great songs on here. You got Harlem Shuffle, Earl Nelson, Bob Ralph, Shotgun Wedding, Roy C, Barefooting, Robert Parker, Boney Maroney by Larry Williams, Daddy Rolling Stone, Derek Martin, You Can't Sit Down by the Phil Upchurch Combat. This is just really a really great compilation of the certain label, and that's how Ireland sometimes did a lot of good compilations. So to find this was really pleasing. So that's the first part of what I brought in February. It's actually gone longer than what I thought. Too much prattling on. I don't know what you've got planned for today. My plan's gone a little bit awry. There's a couple of things that were supposed to have happened, but they've one got called off last moment. Another event got cancelled because it clashed with rugby. Oh well. So I'm going to spend the day listening after I've been out, listening, cleaning records. I've got the ironing to do, chores to do, and I'm sorting out my singles. So my day's suddenly gone probably a lot clearer than what I thought. So anyhow, whatever you get up to on today, VC, make sure it's a good one. Take care of yourselves. Keep spinning. Oh, I haven't done the details. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, click on the subscribe button. I'm saying more the merrier. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Love the interaction. Feel free to comment. I will get back. I've got a couple of comments I'm a bit behind on. Apologies for that. We'll try and get back on those today. So now I can say, take care of yourselves at VC. Be good to each other. Remember, keep spinning. But more importantly, keep smiling.